it's good to win. And I'm at a point in my life where I don't take wins for granted. And sometimes, it's not exactly how you want it to be, but you gotta take the time to celebrate and enjoy it. These guys have worked really hard and earned that win. And I think it was a game where we started the right way. We talked a lot about this, about how do we eliminate hope early in the game? How do we play Vanderbilt football at a level that puts distance between us and the opponent? Offense started exactly how we wanted to. I want to shout out Caleb Barnett for being a big part of that early success, and a kid playing his first college football game was impressive. Diego was efficient. We were moving him in the run game. We were completing passes. It looked exactly how we wanted it to look, and the defense responded with a 3 and out. We were able to score a couple touchdowns there quickly, and I'm proud of the way we started. I felt like as we went, I think on the whole tonight we had 6 3 and outs on defense, so I felt like defensively we had detail and discipline throughout the entirety of the game. Offensively, I felt like that into the half 2-minute drive was an indicator of a loss of focus, and that was really disappointing. It was an opportunity for us to train something that's going to be really critical to our success this year, and we didn't do a great job of that. So that set in motion a period of time there where I felt like we lost our focus offensively. We had penalties that accrued, and some of them are just sloppy play, some of them's operational. Some of that we've talked about. That's part of first game, but also if you go back a year ago, it cost us early on. It took us cleaning those penalties up to find success. So we can excuse it as part of the first game and part of learning how to play, but we cannot hang on to that. We have got to move forward and to play cleaner. But I was proud of James L. Lassiter scoring his first touchdown. I was proud of Mason Miller scoring his first career point as an extra point. Hayden Bray got a sack. Defensively, they crossed the 53 times, I believe. 2 of them ended in turnovers. C.J. Hurd had his first interception, and Miles Capers had the sack fumble recovered by Corday. I thought those were big kind of bounce back moments for the defense. Obviously, the third time they crossed, they kicked the field goal. So if we wanted the shutout, we needed to get the stop on 4th down. We didn't do that, so that's the consequence. But on the whole, again, it's great to learn from a win. I think there's plenty for us to focus on, to clean up, and we're going to need to redirect our energy really quickly to a road game at Virginia Tech, which is going to be really challenging for us. So with that, I'm happy to open up for questions.
Coach, 3 touchdowns, first 3 drives. I know you touched on it there at the beginning, but what specifically did you like most about what the offense was able to do to start the game?
I haven't looked through, and maybe I won't hold you guys up as I look through, but I can't remember when our first 0 or negative yardage play was, but I want to say maybe it was the 3rd drive where we had an incompletion. I think it just felt like we were putting pressure on them from the start. Positive motion, chunk runs. We connected the right times in the pass game. Loved the shot to Eli on the sideline. We missed on some explosives today, and that's been a focus for us on offense. So at the point we became a little too methodical. But early on, I didn't feel that way. Early on, I felt like we had our way in the run game. I felt like we were opportunistic in the pass game, and again, there weren't a lot of 0 or negative yardage snaps to be had. I think the onslaught of penalties is what started to interrupt our flow.
We saw the operational or pre-snap stuff in the preseason, but not as many holding penalties, I don't think. Were there any common denominators there, or like you said, you just think guys let their guard down, or what you see?
Yeah, it's hard to comment on that just because I need to watch the film. But what I sense is that we lost fundamental technical focus, and when you do that, you stop moving your feet. You start grabbing and you incur penalties. And let me look look at the film, and maybe I'll have more on that on Tuesday. But obviously, you know, I don't remember, maybe 2 operational penalties in the game, 2 false starts, I think. So those are controllables. Yeah, sometimes the in-play penalties are going to happen. You know, I don't. Hey, when we're playing hard, and you know, we got to be able to bounce back the next snap when we take on negative plays and penalties that happen during the snap when we're being competitive. But it felt to me like, again, that lack of fundamental technical focus that gave way to us grabbing Holden, and obviously stripped away a big touchdown for Richie Hoskins. You know, I mean, that was a huge play in that moment that we had to erase. So probably just to go on, not that you need me to go on, but you know, one of the most frustrating parts of that into half 2 minute is, you know, we are right on the doorstep of field goal range. You know, and again, for us to get points in that drive is the goal. Obviously, we won a touchdown, but to back up twice with holding penalties is just, you know, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. So really frustrated about that, but you know, we'll coach it and fix it and move forward from it.
You talked earlier in the week, you were happy with the focus and intensity in practice early in the week. Was it maybe a sign of progress to see them come out and do their thing early and put the pressure on them, like you said?
Well, I honestly, I loved our spirit and energy early in the week. You know, I think we needed this week to learn how to prepare for a team. You know, sometimes as a coach, you're seeing the energy and the effort, and I'm getting the GPS numbers, and it's telling me that we're out there practicing hard and we're hitting our speeds. But I actually felt like there was some need for a little more attention to detail in the execution of the plan. So, you know, specifically on Tuesday, Sunday to Tuesday, I felt like I saw a drop off in just our details, and I think building trust and preparation is about executing on the practice field, and we're not going to have the luxury of having an extra day for most of the games that we play, certainly not this week. So we have to have a little bit more urgency in the way we approach those details. But again, this is a team that's energy and spirited and has energy, and I felt like they redirected Wednesday, Thursday. I thought Friday was an excellent walkthrough in all 3 phases, and that showed up for us tonight early. So I think there's, you know, we'll spend time on Sunday just talking about why we do what we do each day of the week, why it's important, where their focus needs to be, because we're in a mode of execution now, and every week's a climb for us and a new challenge, and we can't waste times. Your mistakes now have consequences. This isn't training camp, and so I hope that we have a little better perspective on that heading into next week.
How important was it to have such a wide margin that you were able to get so many different players in the game, and players, some cases, their first taste of college football?
Well, obviously that's a great luxury, and it's awesome. I mean, those kids deserve it. Those players deserve to be out there, and so to be able to put distance between us and the opponent gives us a chance to get guys critical snaps that, you know, again, James L gets his touch, and he's got 1 rush for 35 yards and a touchdown, I think. And so, you know, there's someone who's looking to earn more. I think there are guys that have given a lot to this program that haven't had a chance to play, and to reward those guys meant a lot. There's also young players playing their first college football game that have a chance to play more than special team snaps. I think about Carson Lawrence and Austin Howard and Vanzel Hinton, and I'm sure there are others. So it's going to help us over the course of a season. It's great to reward those guys for their hard work, and for many of them, it's just the beginning.
How do you think Diego did in terms of protecting himself today, and would you like to see him slide more in general?
Yeah, I wasn't. I mean, I said at one point, you know, he pulled a ball in a read, and I'd like to see him, you know, not get hit. You know, I mean, he plays a certain way, and we have a physical line of scrimmage, and we have a physical run game, and we need to lean on that because we understand that we need him healthy late in the season. I still think that it's hard for me to coach him out of his competitive edge, and I think we're going to need that edge as the year goes. But I want to see us do a better job of protecting him where we can, and leaning on MK, and leaning on SETI, and leaning on this line of scrimmage. And AJ Newberry too, who, by the way, I believe scored another touchdown tonight, if I'm not mistaken there.
Yep.
Thank you guys. That's going to be important for us. We have the tools to take care of him. We need him to play with edge when we need him to play with edge. I'd love to see us get things going without him having to carry the ball every time. And you know, let's protect him in the pocket. You know, I mean, I think he's taking undue hits. We need to do a better job of protecting without holding, and keeping him clean, and take a lot of pride. And Coach K does that. These guys, we have a great O-line and a great O-line coach, and Jeff Nady too. I mean, those guys do such a good job, but there's going to be learning from this game that we need to apply for.
You gave it to Blaze late in the third quarter. What did you see from him on offense specifically?
You know, he got a couple of opportunities to put the ball in the air. He was 1 for 3 for 5 yards. I think would have loved to see him connect on the throw to Martell that I thought Martell had a chance to come down with. The one that I believe would have ended in a touchdown. He had the other one he threw that got intercepted, but it was off the defense pass interference. So, you know, look, first game action. You know, I felt like he ran the ball well. I felt like he made good decisions back there on the whole, and you know, we're going to need him too. And I would have loved to have seen Drew Dickey get out there, because Drew's had a great training camp, and you know, unfortunately, we couldn't get to the stop defensively that we needed to get him a chance. But Drew's time will come also, and between those two guys, we have to give them opportunities to separate. They'll get those opportunities in practice as well. But I was happy to get Blaze out there, and you know, we will need him to continue to develop.
It felt like Trey Richardson was one of the tone setters early on the offensive end. He led the team in receptions tonight. Just what were your thoughts on what Trey's performance was like?
I thought there was some really good catch and run there. Obviously, we've seen that in practice. He's just been such a steady contributor through training camp. Catches the ball well, and again, he can hit the gas and get the ball vertical too. So. Yeah, I was happy for him. You know, I mean, he's had a wayward path to Vanderbilt. He's been such a great team member for us, and I'm grateful to have him here. And you know, in his first time in black and gold, I felt like he represented himself really well. And like you said, I mean, to have he and Caleb contributing there early in those drives was important, and we're going to need more of that.
How big of a deal was it for you guys to sell this game out?
Well, I mean, that was very meaningful. I certainly don't take the environment for granted. And in fact, I think it's one of those things that, you know, as we kind of took the field and there in the first quarter, you just take it all in. I mean, that is what the vision has always been. You know, can we have a stadium that's full of black and gold, and a team that's tough and explosive and is fun to watch play and physical, I don't know, those moments are special to me, because when you see kind of the dream come into life and you realize what the potential is here, you know, that was special. So I think everyone who came out to support this program, again, I thought our students showed up again. And made a difference for us, and that means the world to me too, because I was one of them, you know, and our team appreciates it. I thought the stadium was awesome. I think, you know, compliments to Candace and Chancellor Diermeyer and everyone who contributed to that. And I hope the Vanderbilt fans enjoyed a new venue. So I'm grateful, and again, I sometimes in brief moments will kind of be able to pull up and take a big picture view, and I took a couple of snapshots in my mind there in the first half where I thought, you know, this is this is what it was always meant to be, and it's taken us longer to get here than I thought. But if I can keep putting a team out there that inspires people to show up, we can make this thing really fun.
You mentioned Caleb Barnett earlier in the press conference. Just what does he add to the offense as a whole?
Well, he doesn't add size, so I don't think you'll mind me saying that. No, KB's remarkable. You know, here's a guy that, and again, this is a credit to Tim and Jerry and their connections, and you know, Tim, you know, was connected to Caleb, watched him play when he was young, believed in what he saw. Caleb's a resilient person. He believes in himself. He knows he belongs. And from the very first day he stepped on campus, he made an impression how he could run, and how he handled the ball. He's got great hands. He finds his way open. He catches the ball really well. And obviously tonight the story was about his speed around the edge. But I also want to compliment him on making the physical decisions too at the finish of those runs. He was not backing down from contact. And you know, again, he's got elite speed, elite twitch. He can create problems when he gets the ball in space, and certainly we benefited from that tonight.
You mentioned James L a few times. How fulfilling was it to see his career and how it's played out, and then to see him have that moment tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I hope that's a sign of things to come. You know, James L's challenge is that he's got to show consistency, and he's got to show the ability to handle himself down in, down out, to expand his role. But you know, we felt like he has the opportunity to have an impact, to have a set of plays, to get some touches throughout the game. And again, this was, I think it was the first scrimmage that, you know, he maybe had 15 plays, but he scored a couple times. Like, it felt like every time he touched the ball, it was an explosive. That's what he can do physically. Again, him developing developing in his process, you know, his attention to detail, his consistency, all the whatever other coach terms you guys want to throw out there. But you know, just we need him to take ownership, and we've challenged him with that, and I expect him to respond that way. But he showed tonight what he can do when he's out there, and so we need to push him for more.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you guys.
Good.